As the best-selling model in the Lexus portfolio, an all-new RX is a pretty big deal. Now, last year we saw Lexus fully redesign this model, moving it to its 5th generation and introducing 3 all-new powertrains, including 2 electrified options. However, Lexus was promising that a 4th powertrain option was coming, and for 2024, it has arrived in the form of this. This is the 2024 RX 450h Plus, with the Plus meaning this is now a plug-in hybrid, offering up to 37 miles of all-electric range. So today we're actually out here in Austin, Texas to drive the plug-in hybrid RX, and the big question I went answered, has Lexus managed to create the ultimate RX with this RX 450h Plus? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling differences with the 450h Plus, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing, because that's what gives the RX 450h Plus a unique position in the RX family. This is essentially the same powertrain that we find in vehicles like the NX 450h Plus and the Toyota RAV4 Prime. It combines a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with direct injection that runs on the Atkinson cycle. It has 2 electric motors in the front and then a separate electric motor in the rear, giving this vehicle standard electronic all-wheel drive. The big story here, of course, because this is essentially the same powertrain that's in the RX 350h, is the bigger battery pack. We have an 18.1 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack that lives underneath the rear seat that allows this vehicle to do up to 37 miles of all-electric range. Now, in terms of the power output, because it has a stronger electric motor, this also has more horsepower. The gas engine on its own delivers 180 horsepower on 168 pound-feet of torque. Combine that with the electric motors, and you have a total of 304 horsepower. So this is not quite as powerful as the RX 500h, which is why it's designated as a 450h Plus. However, 304 horsepower is still definitely a lot. We don't know the torque figure because Lexus doesn't quote that with the electric motors, but it's an electric motor. It offers a ton of torque instantaneously. Now, it has an electronic CVT, so no stepped 6-speed automatic like in the 500h F Sport Performance. Lexus claims 0 to 60 should be around 6.2 seconds, which is about 0.3 seconds slower versus the 500h. So this, again, should be a little bit slower because it doesn't have quite as much power. It has a top speed of around 124 miles an hour. Lexus claims this model here will tow a maximum of 3,500 pounds. So that's a good 1,500 pounds more versus the NX plug-in. So if you guys are looking at the NX, but you need more towing capability, this is the one you're going to want to go with. In terms of the curb weight, Lexus says this model weighs in at around 4,800 pounds. It's about 300 pounds heavier versus the NX plug-in hybrid. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the exterior styling for this car. Now, first of all, the RX was fully redesigned last year. This is now in its 5th generation. It's built on the Global Architectural, or TNGA K architecture, and you can see the front fascia of the plug-in hybrid looks a lot like every other RX. That's because this vehicle here, you can only buy it as the luxury grade. So Lexus offers like a base, a premium, a luxury, and an F Sport. The plug-in only comes with the luxury grade. You can see it has their new spindle body grille where it has this kind of interesting colored portion at the top, the actual spindle grille at the bottom here. It doesn't have the blacked out accents with the intricate L's, but you can see here, this color is called Nori Green Pearl. This is probably exactly how I would spec it out. It's one of my favorite greens out there. It looks a lot like nori, a lot like seaweed. You can see the headlights. This model here has the optional premium triple beam full LED headlights. So you can see it's got an LED daytime running light, LED turn signal. This little piece here looks like it's almost part of the headlight, but once you get closer, you can see it's actually just a black piece. And then down here, you can see you do have LED fog lights, which is nice that Lexus is still throwing that in. You have some fake vents over here, some functional vents over here. There's not much silver down here, which I appreciate how this is kind of like a gray cladding with some low gloss silver accents and some gray accents over here. But let me know what you guys think of the styling of the RX. I think this car is really attractive looking. It's grown on me over the last year and a half that it's been on the market, and it continues to be a strong seller for Lexus. Now, looking at the side profile of the 450h Plus, you can see it looks basically like every other RX. It has an overall length of 192.5 inches long. Its wheelbase is around 112 inches long. So this is a right-size, mid-size SUV. And if you're wondering, the TX, which is their 3-row, is around 11 inches longer than this vehicle. Now, you can see this being the luxury trim is standard when you guys, or it comes standard with these 20-inch alloy wheels. So these are kind of the luxury spec alloy wheels on a Bridgestone tire. You can see it's riding on a 235 by 50. I'm sorry, it's an R21-inch wheel. So this is a 21-inch wheel with all-wheel disc brakes. It also has 4-wheel independent suspension, although it doesn't have the F Sport adaptive variable suspension because they don't offer the F Sport handling package on this vehicle. You can see the Wheel arch trim is body colored, which I love. You can really see the metallic fleck in the Nori green pearl. And then you can see there's a lot of chrome over here because the F Sport model is what blacks out the chrome. The mirrors are power folding with an integrated turn signal. And then this right here, as you can see, has a panoramic glass roof. If you guys actually look at the entire Lexus plug-in hybrid lineup, the RX is the only model that offers a pano roof. So if you want that feature, you're going to want to go for an RX. It's typically a $500 extra charge, but I like the fact that Lexus is basically offering all of the luxury, all the technology for this model here. Now you can see it's got the signature styling element here with that floating roof design. And then moving over to the rear here, again, you really can't tell this is the plug-in hybrid until you get back here. You can see it has the typical Lexus styling cues here, the full light blade LED taillights, the Lexus spelled out at the back here. And then you can see here, there's a badge that says 450h plus. So this is really the only way you can tell this is the plug-in hybrid, by seeing that badge. And then there's also another way you can tell by looking over here on the rear quarter panel on the passenger side. Push that button here, you can see it reveals the charge port door where it's a J1772 plug. This vehicle has an onboard charger of 6.6 kilowatt hours. It'll probably take around 4 hours to charge on a level 2 from empty to full to give you around 37 miles of electric only range. So again, very competitive numbers in this class of vehicle. Now looking at the cargo area, this is where the RX plug-in hybrid has basically the same cargo space as the non-plug-in hybrid. You have around 26 cubic feet of storage space with the seats up. And if you fold down the second row seats, remember there's no third row in this vehicle. Lexus says you have a maximum of 46 cubic feet of space, which on paper, those numbers aren't a lot. I'm surprised actually, considering how big this vehicle is. It only has 46 total space. You can see, push this button over here. It does have a power folding third row, which by the way, those third row seats are optional, or the second row seats, the power fold feature is optional. It's like part of a $700 upcharge. That's going to expand the cargo, like I said, to around 46.8 cubic feet. Those seats are also heated and ventilated. And then underneath the floor over here, you can see there's a nice little carpeted mat. And then if you look underneath here, which if I can get my fingers in there, there's a little bit of extra storage over here. No spare tire. It just has a fix-a-flat kit. I also like the accessory this model has with the kind of metal scuff plates here on the rear when you're pulling stuff in and out. But overall, this is definitely still a practical vehicle. Just know that some competitors do offer more overall cargo space. So moving on to the interior of this RX 450h Plus. Before we get inside, I actually want to mention really quick the door panel you can see. You can really see the brown color of the interior. This is called the peppercorn interior. I like how Lexus also puts the ultra suede here with the Mark Levinson stereo, soft touch injection molded plastic materials here, padded area here. The window controls also feel high quality, typical Lexus stuff here. It's one touch for all four. And again, the Mark Levinson stereo, this is the only Lexus model, I believe, that's a plug-in hybrid where you can actually get the Mark Levinson and the pano sunroof. Now, getting inside this vehicle, you can see it has that nice, easy SUV step-in height. As I get in and shut the door has a really solid sounding thunk, so that adds to that impression of quality. Now here's the key fob for the vehicle. You can see this is the Lexus current intelligent access key, where it's a totally different design than Toyota. You can see it has usual lock, unlock, power liftgate, panic feature, and then if you triple tap the lock button and hold it on the third push, that should also activate the remote start function. And you can also use your smartphone as a key because Lexus offers that digital key function. Now you can see starting the vehicle up, the power button is located right there at the top, which is nice because it doesn't get blocked by the wheel. And then this being a plug-in hybrid, you can hear it doesn't have that traditional starter noise. It just kind of whirs to life. It says ready in the instrument panel, which by the way, that instrument panel is still not fully digital. You have a 7-inch digital display there in the instrument panel that also has two kind of analog style displays for the battery meter and the fuel gauge. So I would have liked to have seen Lexus put their fully digital 12-inch display that's from the TX in this car. Thankfully, it does have a really nice looking steering wheel. I love the fact that it has this kind of matte finish black wood with the really soft feeling leather. It's got paddles on the wheel for controlling the gear ratios on the CVT. It also includes a power tilt telescoping wheel, and it also has a nice sounding horn where it just kind of sounds appropriate given the size of the vehicle. It also has the Lexus Safety System 3.0, so it has the sensor there that watches your face. It has adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, automatic braking, all that good stuff. And then this luxury trim also includes that heads-up display over there, which is great. Tech features, again, that's all optional on the lower trims. You can see the dashboard has a soft touch injection molded plastic here. It's also padded over here. More beautiful wood trim with some aluminum trim. The ultra suede kind of carries over onto that portion of the dash. This area here is even soft touch, so that is probably a part where you're not going to be touching it much, but it's nice to see Lexus like sweating the details. There's also some ambient lighting here. Lexus calls it thematic ambient lighting. I'll have to wait until I get one for a week to show you guys what that looks like. Down here, you can see it's also soft touch. The air vents are interesting because you kind of have like almost like a Ford design here in the center air vents. You have dual zone or triple zone climate control. You have heated and cooled seats, which by the way, these seats are the actual semi-aniline full leather seats. So they're heated and ventilated. They adjust in 12 different ways. And you also get a 3-person memory on the driver's side. The cushion themselves feels really high quality. These are, again, one of the best seats that I've sat in the segment. Lexus just does amazing seats, and people are really going to appreciate that on those longer road trips. And over here on the center stack, you can see the big 14-inch display is going to be standard. Lower trims of the RX get the smaller 8-inch display, but you can see my phone is connected via wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This isn't really different versus the other RX models, so I'm not going to go into too much detail with that. You can see climate is down here, where it always stays in place. It's really quick and snappy and responsive. You can also go back to the Lexus system there, where it has embedded GPS. It has a full 360 camera, which, as you can see, full perimeter scan, which is nice. You can see great quality of resolution and graphics and whatnot. It's basically what you expect given the price tag of this vehicle. Down here, you can see there's a little bit of storage, 2 more USB charging ports, and then you have a nice little center console where your wireless phone charging pad is down here, and it also offers a little bit of storage. It's a little bit of a different design than something like the new Lexus TX, but you can see this gear selector here controls the CVT. You kind of kick it over to the left, push up to go to reverse, kick back to go to drive. There's also a sport mode in the transmission, and you have your different drive modes here where you can go from a hybrid mode to an EV mode to a charge mode to an auto EV hybrid mode. So this is different versus just the 350h where you don't have the electric only mode, where this car allows you to go on electric only range. Your drive mode selector, as you can see, is in the screen where you can adjust it from eco, sport, and normal. You can turn off the lane departure alert. So a lot of the stuff that you're used to being a button, Lexus has decided to put it into the screen, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, you can see it's relatively easy to use, and you really only touch it once, and you kind of set it and forget it and leave it. I like the black wood trim that you find splashed on the center console versus a piano black, although there is some piano black here on some of the buttons and around the cup holder surround. This is a nice padded center console where you can basically open this up via on that side if you'd like to access it. From the passenger side, you can see it's pretty deep. It offers a good amount. And then on the driver's side, it also flips onto that side as well. So I like how it has like a dual hinge design that is great for practicality. Above me here, you can see massive panoramic glass roof. This is the only plug-in hybrid from Lexus that offers a pano roof. There's also a nice woven material or mouse floor material, suede material on the headliner. Which is nice. Again, it adds to that feeling of quality. Open up the glove compartment here. You can see it's a bin style. It's damped and it's lined with felt. So again, Lexus still really does really nice interiors, and it's great to see their best-selling model, having a lot of great, materials, great build quality, great fit and finish. In terms of the visibility, I can also see out of this vehicle really well. There's a digital camera rearview mirror for those of you who need to pile up stuff in the back, or you have 3 people across. That's going to be great for visibility. But overall, the interior still feels every bit the same as other Lexus models, except Lexus basically throws in everything but the kitchen sink in this car because they consider the plug-in hybrid to be kind of like the flagship of the RX lineup. So because this is a mid-size crossover, the back seat of the RX is certainly very usable, especially if you guys have kids or you have full-size adults. First of all, my tester here has the power reclining seats, which means there's a button here at the very bottom of the seat. It allows you to basically recline the seat back angle if you'd like, forward and back. You can also recline it, or you can also fold it down, which again, it gives you an extra degree of comfort. I also love the fact that the seats are heated and ventilated. So that again, gives you a nice little feature that you don't expect in this segment. Now, as I get in and shut the door, you can hear the door has a nice solid sounding thunk as well. And let me recline this so I get into a little bit more of a comfortable angle. I like how this model also comes with the manual rear sunshades here, which is great for blocking out the Texas sun. You can see door panel materials here are hard touch or soft touch plastic with more of that ultra suede. The Mark Levinson stereo also has some really good sounds. If you guys are an audiophile, I highly recommend that option. Padded over here, and you can see this car also has the digital latch door handles where you just push that will unlock the door for you or open the door, and then you can also pull that twice if the case the power's out. That will also open up the door for you. Now, looking at the rest of the area here, you can see there's 37.5 inches of legroom. 37.5 is pretty good. It's not class leading. Class leading would be like around 40 inches, but it's still very usable. You can see there's good foot space here. I can get back here and kind of cross my legs pretty easily. There's also rear seat air vents, which is nice. You have tri-zone climate control. You have heated and cooled seats, which again, the cooled seat function is included when you go for the power folding seats. You have 2 USB charging ports. And then you can see over here, there's actually a button where the passenger can actually adjust the front passenger seat. This is kind of taken directly from Genesis and Hyundai and Kia products. Hey, it was a great idea, so I like how Lexus is adding that feature. You can see fold down this armrest here. You'll have basically cup holders, which this model here is very, very new. As you can see, it still has the plastic on it. There's also a little bit of storage over here. which is nice. But overall, in terms of the backseat space, the pano roof does take up a little bit of your headroom space. So if you're over 6 feet, you might find your head actually hitting the ceiling. But overall, if you plan to use this as a family vehicle or for full-size adults, you're gonna find that the RX plug-in hybrid definitely has the same amount of space as the lower trim line versions. So here we are in the ultimate version, at least what Lexus wants you to think is the ultimate version of the RX, the plug-in hybrid. And with 304 horsepower, 3 electric motors, a gas 4-cylinder, Lexus claims 6.2 seconds 0 to 60. So let's go ahead and see what we can get in our quick little testing here. The car does not have a full charge. It's about 75% charge, but we have it in sport mode. You can brake torque it. Feels pretty quick off the line. 6.29 seconds. That's with it going slightly more downhill. That time is acceptable. It's pretty much right on target with what Lexus says this car will do. Remember, I had the 500h F Sport Performance, and that will do it in like 5.7 seconds all day long. So it makes sense that this model here, being a 450h plus vehicle, isn't going to be quite as fast 0 to 60 wise. The beauty about this powertrain, however, because it's got the CVT, 3 electric motors, you put your foot down in sport mode, it just kind of accelerates with urgency, and it's very smooth, it's very seamless. You do hear that 4-cylinder drone in the background, which you're gonna hear, of course, if you guys have driven the RX 350h. This is, again, the same powertrain, just with that bigger electric motor, or stronger electric motor, and the much bigger battery pack. But really the beauty about this car comes alive when you switch the drive mode here to EV mode. So I push this button here and I put it into EV mode. You can actually leave it in sport mode still, and it'll basically still drive around in sport, but in purely electric mode. The engine has shut off, so I can basically just put my foot down and it'll accelerate it on its own. Even if I put my foot all the way to the floor, it'll accelerate in pure electric mode. And that's kind of the beauty about the plug-in hybrid version, is you can drive this car like an electric vehicle when you have enough charge in the battery pack. And as I come to a stop here, it is putting some charge back into the battery pack to recharge the battery, and then put our foot down here. You can feel it actually will spin out the tires because it has all that instantaneous torque. Now, it doesn't feel quite as fast in this mode, and that's because the car only has around 179 horsepower on its own when it's in pure EV mode. So you have to keep that in mind. At highway speeds, you're gonna be wanting it to be in hybrid mode, but this mode here is just so satisfying when you're driving in rush hour traffic, you're driving in bumper to bumper traffic, you're just driving around town, because you're not wasting any gas. The car is more efficient when it's driving in EV only mode. And then in terms of the handling, this car doesn't have the F Sport handling package, obviously, so it's definitely got a more softly tuned suspension. The 21-inch wheels also do a really good job of kind of soaking up the bumps along with the suspension. So even though it's got some big wheels and tires, it still has a really good ride quality. It's immensely quiet in here. That's the whole point of buying a Lexus, is just for that quietness. People love that serenity that you get, and the plug-in hybrid version just kind of adds to that. It just makes it feel even more smooth. Now, I was going to try to doing a 0 to 60 when in pure EV mode. I may not be able to do that. I know that I tested it in the NX and the RAV4. It'll do it in around 9.5, closer to 10 seconds. Perhaps I'll get one back home to test for a full week. We can see what it actually will do. But I'm just kind of enjoying driving this car in this mode because, again, it's just cruising along with no noise. The brakes also feel pretty responsive, and they don't have that weird hybrid regen feeling with the brakes. And really what you feel is just a car that drives like any other RX. It just feels like an electric RX, because this is in this mode, you can put your foot down all the way, which is not what you can say about some of the competitors. Some of the competitors are plug-in hybrids, but if you put your foot down all the way, it'll actually wake up the gas engine. And that's kind of where Lexus got it right with this, because it feels a lot like you're driving a fully electric car when it's in this mode. And it will surprise a lot of people, especially for those of you who are unsure about going fully electric or you're going hybrid. This offers that perfect middle ground between a hybrid and a fully electric vehicle. Now, in terms of the visibility, I can see out of this car pretty well. This pillar here is a little bit larger than I would like, but the view out of the front, the side, the rear is great because of that digital camera rear view mirror. The driver assistance tech in this car also works pretty well. The lane keep assist, I like how it just vibrates the wheel. It doesn't kind of beep or annoyingly, piss off me or any other passengers with the noises it'll make. But overall, the seats are comfortable. I'm getting pretty decent, visibility out of the front as well. But I want to test out, when I get one for a week to test, I'll probably test out the range. But unfortunately, when I got this vehicle, it didn't have a full battery charge, but right now it's showing around 14 miles and it's at around 50% charge. So Lexus claims 37. I'm expecting it to be much higher. I also will be able to eventually test out the fuel economy, which this car here is rated to get around 35 mpg combined, which is actually only one less mpg versus the gas or the hybrid only 350h. Right now it's showing around 484 miles on a full tank of fuel plus the electric only range. So in theory, you could go around 500 miles on a full tank in this car. It just depends again on your driving style. It depends on the driving conditions. But overall, this vehicle essentially drives just as good as any other RX model, minus the fact that it's not quite as sporty as the 500h, but it satisfies the primary mission of the RX, which is to be an excellent luxury vehicle with excellent build quality, with a quiet, comfortable ride. And now it also adds in that smooth electric power that I think a lot of buyers who have never driven an electric vehicle or a plug-in hybrid are gonna find to be pretty nice when you first get behind the wheel of this car. So with over 100,000 sales every year here in America, it's pretty easy to see why the Lexus RX is the best-selling vehicle for Lexus. And the secret really is because Lexus offers a plethora of different models to choose from, ranging from, of course, the base 2.4-liter turbo engine to a 2.5-liter hybrid to a hybrid plus a turbo engine. And of course, the final addition here is the plug-in hybrid model, which combines the regular hybrid with 3 electric motors and that big battery pack. So after spending the day driving the RX 450h Plus, basically everything that you like here about the NX 450h Plus or the Toyota RAV4 Prime is present. As you guys saw, it has amazing electric only range. It feels powerful enough to be driven in EV only modes where you don't even have to use the internal combustion engine. I'll have to wait until I get one back home for a week to test out and see what we can actually get in terms of real world electric only range. 0 to 60 time should be slightly slower, obviously, versus the 500h, but again, that's kind of where it fits in the lineup because this model here is down around 62 horsepower compared to the 500h F Sport performance. In terms of handling, this is definitely not a sporty driving RX. You're going to want the 500h for that, but I like the fact that this car stays true to the mission that people expect from a Lexus. It has an amazing ride quality, it has impeccable build quality, it has comfortable seats, it has a quiet cabin. Those are all strengths that people love about Lexus, and now you can basically get it in a plug-in hybrid form, which is why the RX 450h Plus is so appealing. Because if you guys want this vehicle, unfortunately, it is going to cost you a pretty penny because Lexus only offers the plug-in hybrid as the fully equipped luxury grade, meaning the starting price of this vehicle is around $68,900. So just under 69 grand. That's about $5,000 more versus the 500h F Sport performance. Is it worth that extra $5,000? That really depends because obviously if you guys are going to use the electric only range, it will really save you a lot of money at the pump. Sadly, because this car is built in Japan, it does not qualify for the full $7,500 federal tax credit if you purchase the car. If you guys want to lease it, it should qualify for the tax credit and it should actually bring the monthly payment down. For those of you who plan to lease, of course, that's going to depend, of course, on your dealership. My particular tester here with the convenience package, the technology package, the triple beam headlights, the Mark Levinson stereo, the color charge, the destination, all in this one here is about $75,330. I know. 75 grand for an RX makes this the most expensive RX that I've ever tested. However, if you guys fully load up an RX 500h F Sport, that one can also be around 74, 75 grand. So at that point, at the high end, the two cars are pretty much the same price. But remember, the 500h does offer more horsepower and also offers the adaptive suspension, the different look with the F Sport handling package. So it's really gonna come down to your personal taste. Me, personally, this model here, the way it's equipped and the way it's spec'd out is probably exactly how I would do it. Nor green with the peppercorn interior. And it really is an interesting proposition. And I think that Lexus has definitely succeeded here in creating the ultimate version of the RX in the form of this plug-in hybrid. With all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2024 Lexus RX 450h Plus. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook. And as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.